Welcome to Shop Talk. I'm Brandi.
This is James, and we talk about all things related to cross-cultural workers and mental health.
Great. We're glad you're here. And welcome to season 2. We made it to season 2.
Yeah.
Yay.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about fun. Why we should have fun. Why do you think we should have fun? If you're counseling someone, would that be a part of just your sort of framework of what's going on with them?
Yeah, and of course it's different for every person, but
right.
Fun is a good gift from God. I think it is actually important for us to pay attention to.
Right.
We were designed in like the very core of our being to have fun. And it's true in every different culture. You look at some of the oldest cultures in the world and they had games.
Mm-hmm.
I love going through like old cities and looking at Roman artifacts, and you come across stuff of this game, some sort of board game that was played thousands of years ago. Music, which for a lot of people is a form of fun. People have been creating music, all of these elements that are part of fun and enjoyment and taking pleasure in things that are good, that sometimes we forget or we put as less important than work or some of the survival things. And even cultures in history that were primarily survival based, they still had fun.
It's just an important part of being a well-rounded person. And I appreciate what you mentioned about different cultures, because I imagine from different perspectives, different cultures, fun looks different. As Americans, we probably tend to be a little bit more exuberant with our fun. Different people might express it different ways too. So it doesn't have to look one size fits all for different people. I looked up a definition of fun: enjoyment, amusement, or lighthearted pleasure. As an adjective, it's amusing entertainment or enjoyable. Something stuck out with me is just lighthearted pleasure, where you're just, you lose yourself a bit. You lose maybe the things that are pressing it down on you and the weight that you're carrying. I looked up an article on fun, on why fun is important. And one of the authors recommended looking at children and looking at dogs, because children just have fun with abandon. They'll just like jump in a puddle, and that's the best thing ever. And oftentimes dogs are just happy. Just like you can tell when they're smiling at you, and we have a golden retriever, and he's just like the happiest being in the world. And it's just so contagious being around him.
It's just interesting how different fun is. I mean, I think fun, what are some other like words that you find connected to it? Like play for me is connected to fun.
Mm-hmm.
The importance of being able to play.
I think laughter, enjoyment, creativity, community. You can have fun by yourself. You can just watch something on Netflix and think it's hilarious, but there's something about having fun with other people that's, I think, even better.
What are some of the ways you have fun?
I have a friend here, and we just love getting together, and we just have fun. We could go to the grocery store together and just laugh a whole lot about the frozen food section. So maybe that's not for everybody, but we sure have a lot of fun together. We do that.
I love when a group of people get together. I love coming up with like questions or different conversation starters that create a lot of kind of laughter. And one of the things I like doing with a group is I like sharing 5 favorite things. So just 5 things that you have in your life, in your existence, that you would say, this is one of my favorite things. I actually got the idea from a friend in Kenya who did it. It's just something I've grabbed hold on and continued to use. For example, one of my favorite things is just being outdoors. I get tons of enjoyment from doing stuff outside. What might be one of yours?
Yeah, I really love being outdoors. And I love taking our dog for a walk. It's so much fun watching him explore and watching him roll in the grass. Sometimes he rolls in cow poop, which isn't the best, but just watching him be a dog out in nature is so much fun too. And just seeing how beautiful it is around here. Really enjoy doing that. What's something else for you?
Competitive sport.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, based on my age and the things that I've done, I'm only going to get worse at all of my favorite sports.
I was wondering how that's going for you.
Yeah, I plateaued. Like I love team sports, so playing basketball, hockey, recently American football, all those things I can only get worse at. Like there's not the curve for my age and physical ability and injury. I've passed, and I'm now I will now be in a continual state of decreasing in ability. But I do love something competitive. I love sweating. I love playing really hard and doing my best at something. And that competitive part is also a lot of fun for me. I get a lot of joy at that kind of intensity.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. I like pushing myself physically, whether it's running or this summer it's swimming laps in the pool or something like that. I really enjoy doing that. That's fun for me. I was thinking, but I don't know if I told you, we had a trivia night here, a Zoom trivia night here when the pandemic first started. And I don't want to brag, but our team won. And it was a lot of fun. There were so many people in our community that participated in it. We just laughed hysterically. All of us did. Okay, we're just ridiculous, but it was such a nice stress relief, I think, for us, because the pandemic's been hard the whole time. But at the beginning, we didn't know what we were looking at and just what was going to happen next. And so it was just a nice thing for us to all connect from our homes. And also our team won. Just want to mention that again. Why do you think people push back on having fun?
Guilt. Whenever we talked about guilt and expectations connected to the should word, I should be doing something else. I should be more productive. Ellie, my wife, was just in a conversation with somebody and they were talking about dogs. And somebody on the call said, well, I just don't understand why somebody would own a dog, because all of that time could be spent on something else. As if moments with a dog are wasted and should be like, whoa, that's not understanding kind of what a dog can bring to a relationship.
Yeah. Dogs are God's creation and they're so lovable and so fun.
Unconditional acceptance. Our dog is just like, when we come home, it's just a pure joy as he greets us.
If you interact with someone who doesn't really have fun incorporated in their lives, what would you imagine their lives look like?
So my parents, who I don't think they made it past our first podcast, but they did give it an effort, are not great at having fun. And I don't think they would be bothered by me sharing this. They're working at it.
And you can talk about it because I haven't listened to the rest of the podcast.
That's right.
So okay.
Odds are they aren't coming back. But anyone else can go listen to the first episode. It was fine, actually. They didn't get past it. Anyway, definitely in our upbringing, my siblings and I found fun on our own, but the culture of my family was one centered around work. I grew up on a farm, so there was always lots of work and things to do. And both of my parents are extremely hard workers. My mom's a nurse, my dad's a firefighter, was a farmer, and even now they're nearing retirement. They have kind of everything they need to make life comfortable. But when we were staying with them in the beginning of the pandemic, if they're at home, they're still working, whether it's in the garden. And some of that stuff, I think they would find fun. But there is this element of it's still pretty hard work. And fun can look different for everybody. It's all about kind of, I think, what's happening with your body, both inside and outside, that makes something fun. And we'll talk a little bit about what's happening when it comes to fun. But I can actually imagine people who don't really know how to let loose or how to do something just for the pure enjoyment of it. Not necessarily to get somewhere, to learn something or to move towards a goal. Just to do something for the pure pleasure of it, because that level of doing something fun is producing something in our brains. It's producing endorphins, which a lot of people have heard of. In case you wondered, it's from the Greek euphoros, which means born well or healthy, and from which means to bear. So it's like to bear wellness.
Because one of the articles I saw talks about benefits of having fun. One of the benefits of having fun is that it lowers your cortisol levels, which are part of your stress hormones. And so what happens when your cortisol levels lower, it reduces your stress. When the stress hormones are lowered and your endorphins or your serotonin have a chance to replenish, then you have reduced stress, means you can have a better quality of sleep, increase creativity, and keeps you feeling youthful. I don't, necessarily recommend people my age going out and jumping in puddles or doing like our neighbor kids doing, riding around on their bikes with their rain boots and underwear on, but you can just be a little bit more youthful, in different ways of having fun. I've told our neighbors also, like, I want to pay them just for like letting their kids play in front of our house. It's so refreshing. Just look out our kitchen window and be like, oh, there they are again. And wearing the boots on. That's great, man.
Yeah, I just think play is so important. And there are
Mm-hmm.
many different forms of fun, but I think for some people it's this kind of focus on this productivity of something.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of those things cause stress. And when you are in a state of stress, your body is releasing cortisol, and that's designed to help us get through these kind of intense situations.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a cost for this ongoing stress, and it's the simplest way I talk about it is to think about life in balance. So if you were to hold your arms out level, and in one hand you put all of the things that happen in life that cause stress. So that might be lots of different things at work. That might be relationships. That might be maintaining your house, or learning or communicating in different languages, navigating
Mm-hmm.
cross-cultural life. All of
Mm-hmm.
these things that are a cost, that cause stress, that may be a cost mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And then
Mm-hmm.
on the other hand, you put in those things that give life. It might be some of the same relationships. Sometimes relationships give life and also cost. And think about your balance. Is one hand far greater than the other?
Right.
And the
Right.
longer you live life in a significant out of balance way, the more caustic that is on your whole being. Headaches and migraines and stomach and cramps, because your body is living in this cortisol state. So
Mm-hmm.
being able to bring things into your life that bring that balance, that relieve that stress, that release the good hormones in our life, like the dopamine triggers, which is what we get when we do things that bring us enjoyment,
Mm-hmm.
bringing that
Yeah.
good stuff, playing,
I appreciate
laughing, singing, dancing.
I appreciate the visual of that, of like having your arms out. I was even thinking like the airplane. If the airplane gets out of balance, I mean they do turn sometimes, but if it gets out of balance, that's not good. Um, I think having fun, like when we, especially for cross-cultural workers, oftentimes we feel pressed by the work in front of us. So there is always something important and necessary in front of us. And our lives can tend to get out of balance because, as you said earlier, fun can feel like a guilty pleasure that we shouldn't be enjoying. Actually, fun can help you maintain your health and longevity to continue doing your work. So it is important. It is important to turn off and just laugh, or just smile inwardly to yourself at something that gives you pleasure. It doesn't have to be this like guffaw laugh out loud, but it can be just something that.
I think in the Christian circle in particular, we tend to be afraid of things that give us pleasure,
Mm-hmm.
because we've just seen all of the ways that it can lead to harm. Good food releases dopamine.
Right.
Like, what's the best meal you've eaten recently?
My husband and I were in Italy recently. I had this spaghetti carbonara that was just so amazing. It was like I didn't want to finish the plate because then it would be gone. So yes, it was good. What about you?
There is a little burger food truck thing really, really close to our house.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually have like 10 different kinds of meat that's imported, like zebra and bison and all this crazy stuff.
Oh,
But
okay.
their burger is just so excellent. We had one the other day, and it was just enjoyment. And obviously there are dangers by getting addicted to something that we enjoy, like food. There are a lot of people that use food to treat negative feelings because it makes them feel good. And that is kind of an extreme that I think is part of the thing people are afraid of. So they kind of want to stay away from anything that causes pleasure. Intimacy with another person is pleasurable, whether it's just a deep conversation with a friend or special moments with a spouse. But I think sometimes we're timid of enjoying what that is like.
Trying to make you laugh.
Are you 13?
Yes.
You want to play Marvin Gaye in the background?
Just enjoying those times can be so refreshing and so good for your soul. I think as humans, we tend to react and pendulum swing from one end to the other. And so if something has the potential to be taken to an extreme, to take it to an unhealthy extreme, we can just automatically push way over the other direction and not look for a healthy way of interacting with it. Something I've engaged in with eating and eating good food is just trying to be mindful of how I eat and how I eat my meals. And that actually helps me enjoy it more and not just to eat it and get it over with, but just and being mindful about eating helps your brain to know too that hey, you're eating something, so you don't really have to be hungry. You don't really need anything again in a couple hours because you're good.
But I even think exercise is great. It releases endorphins. Many people find it enjoyable, but it's also something, if taken to the extreme, can be unhealthy.
Mhm. And I don't know if this is a place to talk about this, but I think some aspects of modern Christianity or modern evangelical Christianity can tend to be more the outlook where like any kind of fun, any kind of pleasure isn't okay. There's got to be something wrong with it. Be careful about it.
Right.
And actually, no, I mean, just, you can enjoy something and it's okay.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of freedom. You can go to 1 Corinthians 10 that says, I have the right to do anything you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is constructive. I think it's important to be aware of our own selves, and to know what it is that enjoys us, what is it that restores balance to our life. I mean, even the thing as simple as laughter, I think, is it's so fun because you're often in an environment, whether it's in relationship with somebody or it's watching or reading something good that creates laughter, which is a good gift. We don't always put ourselves in positions to actually laugh.
Mm, yeah. So if you're working with someone came to you for counseling and you felt like their life might be out of balance. They have a lot of just weight and heaviness in their lives, but not a lot that's giving them joy and pleasure. How would you help them to move forward with that or to incorporate that more in their lives?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about the math formula, you either take off some things that cause stress or
Mhm.
you add to the things that relieve it. I mean, I think some people don't even know anymore what it is. It's been so long since they've just had fun, they forgot what it's like.
Hmm.
And
So
maybe it's
yeah,
not playing games because they get too competitive and that takes some of the enjoyment out of it. And
yeah. How do you help someone if they are in that spot where they just feel stuck? They don't know what it is or how to get there.
I think a lot of times the problem is time. I don't
Hmm.
have time. Well, you do have time. You've just chosen to put that time towards things that don't give you as much joy. So, the first step is just making the time for fun. You might have to plan it in. Like some people just need to plan it in and be like, Saturday night, we're going to do something only for fun, something that we or I enjoy. And
Mhm.
then the next part is you might just have to practice some things.
Try out different things.
Yeah. I bought my mom a book on like hobbies for retirees. She's not retired yet, but is like just doesn't know what to do. I actually thought about buying her a gift certificate for a pottery class because I'm
Ooh.
like, it's creative, it's using your hands. I didn't, and she was like, "Boy, I'm glad you didn't do that. Why would you get me that?"
I'm wondering, since you brought up your family, you come from a family which is a really strong work ethic, which is really great. How did you learn to incorporate fun into your life?
I think growing up in Telephone, Texas, which is very rural, on a farm, we were homeschooled. I just had a lot of time.
Mhm.
My siblings and I had a lot of time. We would do our school, we would take care of our chores, and I think that with that time, we just learned to be creative. And I also had younger siblings that would kind of do whatever I suggested, so they were off part of my kind of play,
Okay.
very, very moldable. You know,
So I have a lot of questions about what you got your younger siblings to do with you and for you and
think about
what.
the apple on the head and the bow and
Mhm.
arrow, stuff like that.
So my husband Tracy grew up on a farm in Iowa and he tells me stories and I think, how are you still alive? It's the stuff they used to do.
One of the many times my little brother had stitches growing up was because I was like, I got an idea. You ride your bike, and I'm going to lasso the seat, and you're going to pull me around the house on roller skates.
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
It didn't work well.
How'd it work for you? Like you mentioned, he got stitches, but how'd it work for you?
I mean, I was fine, but I was bigger.
That's great. What do you and Ellie do to have fun?
We enjoy listening to podcasts together. We go down to the beach. We take our dog for walks. We get off in the mountains. On Saturday, we went off in a river and hiked up this river and swam in little pools and took a picnic and enjoyed getting out. I mean, I think you need to look at fun on kind of the daily scale. Like, did you do anything today for fun? A little bit of fun on the weekly scale because time's a part of it. Like, did you do something in this whole week that was for fun? And then, a little bit of fun in the monthly or yearly scale. Like, how are you doing at maintaining that balance? I love playing sports. So 2-3 times a week, I'm on some court, field, or rink playing a sport. Ellie has yoga class. We love being with people. So almost every night for the past month, we've been hosting people at our house to watch the Euro Cup.
Who are you rooting for in the final?
Probably England. I have a lot of friends that are from England. So we actually did with a group here a pool. So everybody was given a team randomly, and for 50 cents, you got to enter the pool, and then the winner gets all of the cash. And it's 2 kids that have made it into the final. So they're really excited about the 12 euros.
Woohoo, good for that. 12 euros seems like a lot though.
Yeah, kids. Hotly contested. Ellie's family, her dad is just a master of fun. His business is actually a team building center. So they have this huge warehouse that has a ropes course in it and all of these great ways to use fun to bring people together. So whether you're somebody that's going there for a youth group or a birthday party to these huge corporate events where they actually use some of these challenges and some of these fun to help bring people together and to actually be more productive at work. Everything that he has done at his company, he's also done with his family. An example is on birthdays, people have to play games in order to get presents. And Christmas, I can't even remember what it all there is, but there's so many different ways to have fun. And we might need to get him on just to hear his perspective on it, because fun has essentially been his business.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah.
Well, those were the gals who work with him did our team building, didn't they? And we had the fun thing. That was great. Tracy and I have started watching Bob's Burgers together. We've started watching that. It comes on back-to-back episodes at 9:00, and it's just so ridiculous, but we have a lot of fun watching that together. I was thinking it's really important, helpful to have fun, like on an individual level, people around you, and also as a team. And again, with cross-cultural work, we tend to be involved in pretty serious and weighty matters a lot. And I think it helps with team building, and it helps just to break down the tension if you incorporate that into your atmosphere in your team.
What about reading? A lot of people do reading for fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Great way to disconnect.
A
lot of times fun has a creative aspect. And doing creative things is a great way to challenge your brain, to lean into new areas.
Absolutely. I would have taken that pottery class.
Yeah. It's improving our memory, our connection. It's helping us think differently. A lot of times, for everybody that's ever crammed for an exam or a test, because you're kind of stressed in that moment, our brains actually don't remember as well when we're under stress. So for everybody that's crammed the night before a test, you're actually not allowing your brain to operate at its best. So having fun reduces that stress and also allows our brains to function better.
Yeah, it increases your capacity.
Right.
Yeah.
Big dividend. What are some of the things you've heard about yourself or other people having fun that are maybe unique?
Okay, I heard something recently. This is high school kids, and it sounds so typical for high school boys, but a friend of mine's son, who's going to be a junior in high school, went out camping in the woods here with his friends. And they have these huts you can just camp in the woods out here. And some guys who just recently graduated said, hey, let's go get him. Let's go scare him. So they hiked out there in the dark at 3 a.m. and just scared the bejeebers out of these kids. But they had so much fun after it was over. And my friends said they were just laughing about it and talking about it. So that was kind of fun to listen to. I can't see anyone like me and my friends going out and doing that, but it was fun to listen to them just living it up. What about you?
Some people really get into different types of games. So everything from card games to board games. Some people like the strategy games, others prefer the more social ones. I think that, different cultures have different approaches to fun.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be connected to something that costs.
Right. Yeah, it could just be, again, like going out in nature. Nature is such a wonderful gift. And just spending time out in nature can be so refreshing and enjoyable. And it's generally, you don't have to pay unless you go to like a botanical garden or something like that. So it's really nice.
Yeah, it might be worth just writing down, what are the top 5 things I do for enjoyment, or I do to relieve stress. Hopefully the things that relieve stress are also enjoyable.
Yeah, hopefully those go together.
Yeah, I mean, one of my best friends, he runs all the time, and I get videos from him sometimes before or after a run, and it's really, really hot in Texas in the summer, and he just ran, 10 or 15 kilometers, and to me, that sounds like death.
But not to him.
But not to him. It's enjoyable, and it relieves stress, and it is good for his body and his mind and his soul.
And I do want to be mindful of an American perspective on fun, because we work for an international organization, and there are people listening who are not American. And so I want to bring that up in our conversation of how we can be mindful of other cultures, because we tend to have blinders on as Americans, but how we can be mindful of how other people might experience fun or what that might mean to them. Because we tend to be a bit loud about it in general.
Some cultures, there is a connection between work and play for kids. For example, a study of Baka foragers in the Republic of Cameroon recorded 85 different types of play by young children, but it included things like hunting, making traps, gathering insects or fishing with baskets, playing house, all of these things, creating clothes, and is a form of play for kids. And I think it really doesn't matter what it looks like. It's more about that impact on you internally.
Okay. But if you're interacting with a different culture, what looks fun or what may be fun for you may be something different for them. So I guess I would just say be mindful of that.
I think that a lot of times we forget how to play. And fun and play aren't, they're not necessarily the same thing, but play is a form of having fun. It's good to be playful, to do silly things sometimes.
Yeah. I did tell Tracy recently, one of my daily goals is to make him laugh, like genuinely laugh. And I feel like if I do that every day, it's like closing a circle on my Apple Watch. I have a circle for making Tracy laugh.
How often does it happen?
How many Sundays is work? I'd say about at least 50% of the time.
It's not bad. Not bad at all.
Would you have any recommendations for people listening to this? Just how to, we've talked about some things, but do you have any like concrete recommendations for people? Just and they're exploring like what's fun for them.
Now, this activity might not be fun. However, it might be worth doing. If you think about that balance thing that we talked about, might be worth just writing it down. Like, what are the things you have every day, every week, every month that cause stress? What are the things in your life that are challenging, are more costly of your emotions, your resources? And do another column. What are the things that you enjoy? What are the things you do for fun? And more often than not, those columns are way out of balance in both time and both effort we put toward those things. And pick just 1 or 2 things you can do for fun today. And if it's nighttime, tomorrow.
Yeah. What I hope you get from this is that it really is not just okay, but it's really beneficial for your mental and emotional health. to have fun, to have it as a part of your daily life.
So you just got to find whatever that thing is.
That's true.
You just got to find your fun.
Try to be aware of how you're responding to the things that you're having fun with, and what things really connect with you, and how do you feel when you really connect with a particular aspect of having fun. How do you feel? How do you feel physically? How do you feel mentally? How do you feel emotionally? That can give you some clues too about different things that you connect with more.
Might be helpful to just pause and do a body scan.
Yeah.
And we may have talked about that in a previous episode, but I'll just walk you through it real quick. Whatever time of day it is, I want you just to stop and think about all of the things you have in your day. Might be helpful even to look at your calendar, your diary for a minute, and just see at the day everything that's there, and kind of hold it in your mind. And while you're thinking about your day, I want you to, with your eyes closed, possibly in your imagination, just notice your head. Notice your head all the way down, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, your neck. Do you notice anything? Do you notice discomfort? Do you notice pain? Do you notice any sensations when you're holding on to the task you have for the day? Keep doing that scan down your neck to your shoulders and your arms. Just notice what you experience. It might be a feeling or a sensation. It might be a pain. You might have tightness in your neck because you've been looking at a computer all day. Internally keep kind of noticing the different parts of your body, and call your mind to your shoulders, your chest, your waist. You feel tightness in your chest. How is your stomach? For many people, a stomach is an indicator of the amount of stress they have in life. Notice any discomfort, any sensations. Keep going all the way down your waist, your legs, all the way down to your feet. Just what do you notice? Be mindful. If you do a body scan, when you're kind of thinking about all the stuff you have in a day and you're noticing a lot of discomfort in your body, pain, tension, tightness, might be an indicator that you need to pause and do something fun. You will probably be more productive at work if you can disconnect and do something enjoyable to kind of reset that balance in your life.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think we carry a lot of the stresses physically. We don't stop to notice it and its effect on us. So I think the body scan is a really helpful tool for that.
We do a body scan a lot of times with trauma, so we might need to have an episode on trauma.
I think that'd be really good.
Well, hey, don't forget to play.
And have fun having fun.
Yeah, go do something. Stop this podcast and go do something for fun.
Go have fun. Go have fun. Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next time.